Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Weekend Wrap Up. It is June 21st. I am David Thomas, and this is Mr. Josh Blevins. Josh, good to see you this morning.
Good to see you. This is the early edition of the
Yes,
Weekend
we've
Wrap-Up.
thrown everybody a curveball.
Yes,
so
it
people will
is.
be probably joining us at our regular time, an hour and a half from now, and wonder what's happened. They're already done it.
They've already done it. I'll already
Yeah.
be sitting in the parade.
Yeah,
so,
but you're going to be in the parade this morning.
Yeah, I got to be in the parade, so we had to start early. So we got to line up at 9:30.
Line up at 9:30, and you'll be
Yeah.
waving to the crowd.
I'll be
Any
waving to the
prizes for the
crowd.
crowd, or are you just going to give them a wave?
No, I think just a wave. It said on the instructions we're given no political paraphernalia. You can't run for office, and you can't throw candy to the children. It said so.
Well,
yeah.
if you smile, that could be interpreted as political.
It could be, yeah. I guess I'm not allowed to go out and shake hands and kiss babies and stuff. while
Nah,
I'm
you're
there.
not supposed to do that, Josh.
No.
Well, we'll let
Just
you slide
wave.
on the parade. It's a good cause.
Yeah.
all
So
right.
yeah.
Before we dive into this week's news, which it's a little bit slower than normal.
It is, yeah. There wasn't a whole lot that went on this week, but we've got a few things to discuss.
Yeah,
for
we've
sure.
got some hot buttons here.
Yeah, one or two.
Yeah,
So.
and we'll take a look at those. Before we do, we'll hear from our sponsors, Dennis Young Insurance and the Leverage Power Washing. We'll be right back.
Get the results you want with the personalized service you deserve at Dennis Young Insurance Agency.
As a local independent agency, we offer coverage from several different companies, including Erie. So whether it's auto, home, life, personal, or business, we can find the right coverage to meet your unique insurance needs. And with a rate lock advantage, your rates won't go up as long as you do not change drivers, autos, or addresses. Contact us at Dennis Young Insurance Agency, insuring Shelbyville and surrounding areas since 1988.
All righty, welcome back to the Weekend Wrap Up. Before we get local, Josh, I've got a couple things here I want to
Yep.
share from the state headlines this morning.
Go right ahead.
Interstate 40 at the Tennessee, North Carolina had a rock slide on June 18th, and it's closed both directions. So there's a detour if you're going into North Carolina on Interstate 40. You better find a different way.
Yeah.
Also, there are some heat wave warnings coming up this next week. We're going to have some hot weather.
It's hot.
Yeah, it's already there, and we're going to have probably some heat indexes to talk about. But Shelbyville Weather is going to be covering this close, I'm sure. And I understand Elijah's got some exciting news. He's going to actually expand his coverage.
Yeah, he's been
and-
doing a lot of things since he
have
got out
a
of
bigger
school. So,
building
yeah.
him sort of a studio so he can get more interactive with us. So I'm anxious to see that. One other thing, the Tennessee Titans are ranked last in NFL's offseason power rankings after a 3-14 season, with focus on improving their offense for 2025. No kidding. All right,
it was
that's
a
all
rough
I've
season
got.
last
That's all
year.
I've got.
It was
all
a
right,
rough
Josh.
season,
What
so.
has happened in Bedford County this week?
Let's go local. And we're going to start off with, I've been twice this week to Cooper Steel Arena. There was an event that started Tuesday or Wednesday this week, and really nobody was expecting a whole lot from it. We didn't hear a lot about it ahead of time, but it is there's an official name for it. I should have looked it up. It's a youth barrel racing competition.
Yeah,
is
it's
what
a
it is.
championship youth barrel racing.
Yeah.
National championship youth barrel.
Yeah.
And it's a circuit, I believe. It goes around.
Yeah, and it's a big deal. And I've only been here a few years, but you've been here a lot longer. And I'm going to give away our secret lair location. Right, if we walk outside the door here, we can see the celebration
Yes.
grounds. And what are you seeing as far as people and traffic?
I've driven through the grounds, and just from this location standpoint, you can go out, and in the west, on the west grandstand side in the field, there's been horses out there all week, actually working their horses and preparing for the event, which used to, back in the heydays, all the people would work their horses in the early morning when it was cool in that field, and it stopped. And it's probably been 20 years since we've seen this type of activity on the celebration grounds, and it's not Tennessee walking horses.
No,
it's barrel racers. Okay,
Yeah.
and somebody asked me what breed they use. Primarily quarter horses, some Appaloosas, and some outlier breeds, but they're athletic built horses, which is your quarter horse, and they use Western attire.
Yeah.
And you've been in and you've seen how they do it. It's a speed event. It's pretty exciting, and the thing that this jumps out at me most is the crowd that comes with the kids. You know, their families are here and they're staying in RVs. It's filled up our campground.
The entire RV park is full. They had to go to that overflow, the lot there on Whitthorne.
Yes, Mr. Beach's property over there at the sale barn. All of those are full too.
Yeah, so you've got the kids that are competing. Each of them has to at least bring a parent, but more often than not, they may have two parents and a couple siblings.
Something you brought out, they're on hoverboards, segways,
segways, hoverboards, whatever you want to call them. The number of kids riding up and down the streets in the celebration grounds on hoverboards was crazy.
And they brought their own water park.
They did, yeah. They get inflatables back there, and I saw basketball goals set up. So yeah, it's a really neat event. It's good for the celebration grounds to have that much going on. And I just wish we had known a little more ahead of it. I think if it had been promoted a little more locally, they could have gotten more spectators in there. It costs absolutely nothing to go in there and watch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's no admission charge. They have the signs still up on the fences about parking, but there's nobody collecting parking.
No, it's just pretty much show up. So you still got an opportunity to see that. These competitions run.
Yeah, the finals are this morning. They're doing an opening ceremony at about 9 o'clock. I found their Facebook page, but the actual racing itself won't start until 10:30. They've got a pony final, which is like 30 racers, but then they've got an open final, which is like 300 and some.
Yeah, that's going to go all day long.
So it's going to go for quite a few hours, and just a good fun event. Yeah, those kids, man, they come out of the chute, they go around those three barrels, they come back. It's like 15 point some seconds for the top.
Now, if we could get stuff like this every week, at the celebration grounds, we would be a tourist destination. Okay. We've been debating that. Yeah. I've been throwing the question out.
Yeah.
But you look at this. This looks like travel baseball in Panama City, Florida.
Right. It's the same.
I mean, it's
same
a comparison.
Concept.
Yeah, because these kids are out of school. Their families are taking these as vacations. And some of these folks will be going on the road for 3, 4, 5 weeks.
Right, and these are, the winners. These are decent payouts. There's several $1,000s for the different positions of winning. And I saw nice saddles they gave around to the different levels that win and stuff. So it's a great thing. And obviously, some of them are just eating in their RV, but a few of them, had to have gone to Chick-fil-A and McDonald's and gone around eating in town and stuff. So it's a good event. Just hopefully we can get more of it, and hopefully we get a little more local promotion, we get more people out and see.
And what it would do, I think, just for the structure of our city, is Madison Street would build back up if we had events like this every week coming in.
Sure, yeah,
and promoted them. Just let the community know that this is taking place. We could have. This is a pretty exciting event. Rodeos seem to draw a crowd.
Yeah.
Okay. This is similar. It's not bull riding and stuff, but you got these speed events. It's pretty exciting. They're up against the clock, so it's
Yeah, it was a good event. Yeah, it was fun. I went in there twice and really had a good time. And if you're free this morning, don't have anything else going on, which I will point out that we also do have the Moon Pie Festivals today as well. So there are a lot of people up in Bell Buckle today. So a lot of things going on here in the county today. So on to actual news events that at least political news events that happened this week. Tuesday evening was the county committee meetings. And we had talked about this last weekend, and my goal going in there was it was going to be about 20 minutes long, and then we're going to have budget discussion. And we thought that was going to be the evening. So
no, wrong.
Something came out of left field, and we got in there, myself and all the county commissioners that are normally there for this, and then you have a few department heads that present. And next thing you know, people started filing in the room, and then there's one person, and then two people, then three people. And next thing you know, all the chairs were full. I'm like, what are these people doing here? Not this many people care about the budget at this point of the budget cycle. So turns out we had a group show up from I guess this would be Unionville area, maybe. It's up 41A.
El Bethel area, I think. El Bethel.
Past El Bethel. It's a Longview
between
Road.
El Bethel and Unionville.
Yeah. And their concern, which they spoke about, a number of people spoke about, was that there is a piece of property right on 41A, a barn there, and they have been slaughtering goats and sheep, seem to be the primary things that were going on. But the concern was that they had seen, or I'd better say they alleged that they saw them dumping some of the carcasses and some of the leftovers, intestines and whatnot, into the creek out behind the property.
Right.
Which would be not a good thing because that creek feeds into the river.
Right.
So they had already raised their concern with the county, the sheriff's office, and they had actually filed some reports. I got a hold of this incident report with this is the Tennessee Department of Ag Crime Unit, Mr. Mike Whaley, and he'd been out and investigated a couple times, but they just felt like they weren't being heard or that things weren't moving fast enough. So they thought they would bring this to light at a public meeting and see if they could get some more action going on.
Right.
So if nothing else, they got public exposure because everybody saw what was happening.
Yeah.
So
it seems like to me, Josh, that from what I saw, they had some video of maybe some of the carcass, the leftover, the remains of the animals in the creek, near the creek, or whatever. And then they had some video of some people gathering and doing, I guess, who knows, I guess they were in there working together on the slaughter of whatever it is. And I've always, around these parts, we're farmers. There's a lot of farmers, and a lot of farmers kill hogs and chicken and other, I guess, goats as well. I don't know what. I know farmers kill pigs, and we get sausage and ham out of it. And I don't think that's the issue here, Josh.
Right. Yeah.
Seems like the issue is the disposal.
I think it's the disposal, yeah. And I think there's a little bit of a fine line there, too. You're right. I mean, we're in an agricultural community, so you've got to – I mean, everybody's wanting them to go in, with a SWAT team, I guess, and take these guys out.
Well,
but in reality, we've got people all over the county that are killing animals, that are, given, and you may, there's rules about, who you could maybe sell your meat to and not sell your meat to. But I'm sure some of those lines get crossed on a regular basis anyways.
There's locally a threshold that they have to be a licensed facility after they
get to a commercial level. Yeah. So I spoke to a couple different sources in law enforcement that I won't call anybody out this week, but they said there are and continue to be ongoing investigations. This isn't a quick process. Even though this crowd showed up and was upset, this has only come to light since like the middle of May. So we're only a month into this. And also what one of them pointed out to me was a lot of these violations, I mean, we say this is a big criminal operation or whatever was the allegation. A lot of this is just going to be citations and fines.
Yeah, it's about sanitary.
Yeah, this is not, again, where they're going to go in with a SWAT team and, take all the animals and lock these guys up for 20 years in prison. This is at most a fine and a citation.
I bet they don't even get fined. I bet they get a warning first, an opportunity to Probably. So we'll keep following up on it, but that was definitely something that we were not expecting at the Rules Committee, which is where this was presented at. So there was not supposed to be that going on. What was actually presented at the Rules Committee that also was not on the agenda was we got a quick wastewater update from the county planning director, and there's been a lot of debate back and forth about wastewater regulations, wastewater authority, so on. It had been pushed back to planning for discussion. They're currently tied up with a comprehensive plan discussion. So he said that the Planning Commission hopes to get to some discussion of wastewater in their August meeting cycle. So that's So we're still talking. We're going to talk.
Still talking. More. We're going to talk some more.
I see your note says discuss in August.
Yes, there will be some discussion.
This seems so much like Congress. Just talk about something till it's irrelevant.
Well, as I found, government does not move very fast.
It doesn't. The speed of smell.
Yes. Another thing that came out at the committee meetings was our county animal control got a certificate of recognition as a no-kill shelter. They do a great job over there. It's hard to do that when you're in a animal control facility.
So that's no euthanization, right?
And that is not 0%. I think and I may be wrong in this, but I'm going to go ahead and throw out a number. I think the definition of a no-kill is less than 10%.
Okay, so it's kill a little bit.
Yeah, because you have somebody come with health issues, you have some behavior, but I think if you keep it below 10%, you're classified as a no-kill shelter. All so. One thing that was missing from the presentation was the sheriff said he even sent an email in the morning and got no response. We didn't get a drug task force report, so That's one that normally comes out every month. We just started getting it about a year or so ago.
You know,
but
we don't have drugs in Bedford County, Josh.
No, we got dead goats though. So. And then another one that we've been following, Tacking Radios, which they've been working on in the county. Planning Commission is still in discussion. Tacking Radios are still in testing, so they are in testing mode still.
Okay, so going back to March, it seemed like June was the critical month that this is going to get resolved. So it's probably, the way I understand it from the lady from Motorola, she was saying June, early July, we should be rolling.
What's resolved is the towers are like pretty much done. So what they have done recently, he said, was they did what was, he had an acronym for it, but it's basically a grid test. They broke the county up into a gazillion little grids and stuck a guy with a testing radio.
They're doing radio checks, and we've turned the radio check into a bureaucracy. But it's the way they do it.
It's the way you do it. Yeah. So they checked out all these grids. They have not gotten the results back from the grid tests yet. And then they continue to still be working on programming of portable radios. So it seems like nobody's given a date anymore. Nobody's making any promises. But it's in progress. So maybe in a few months we'll be closer. So and we are closer because I hear them testing them.
We're closer.
We're closer, but we're not there yet. So after so there's 3 of these committees. After the second one, the video went out. And had I known that, I would have stayed in the room. But I'd had some coffee, so I took a quick bathroom break, and then I came back, and the third committee had already happened. So
just blinked and it's gone.
I don't know. So I have no idea what happened to the Courthouse and Property Committee. It's not on video. I wasn't in the room, but I'm thinking probably not.
I got a question for you, since this and this is maybe something you can find out for Josh.
Yeah.
Can we get the light on the courthouse changed from pink to blue?
The new lights?
The new lights? Yes, my favorite lights. They stay in on pink. Or mine might be colorblind.
I think it's just the color. It's supposed to be white. I think it's the color temperature they're on. So maybe ask if they could change them to. So you want to go a little bluer? You want a bluer temperature?
Pink ain't a good look, man.
You're not liking the pink?
No.
Okay, well, I'll see if IT's willing to change the color temperature. They may not, but I'll ask.
They're listening.
Please
do some blue.
You're wanting bluer. Okay.
Just something else.
Something bluer. Okay. And then the whole reason that I went to this committee meeting, which going into it, was I was hoping we were going to get county budget discussion. And we got a whole lot of nothing. So there was less than 15 minutes. There were a few questions about what a couple particular line items were. It seems like they're going to vote on the budget. When is the county budget vote? I believe it is Thursday at noon. And it seems like it's going to pass this year, and there's not
discussion is not encouraged. So. It's not encouraged, Josh.
One thing, and I've not had a ton of time to dig in. I've got the city budget to deal with. And I've actually got to vote on that one. So I spent a lot more time with that one. But the county one, I did go through it a little bit more this week. And one thing that stuck out to me is, at least on paper, the county has the same thing going on the city does, which is their fund balance for the last 2 years is on paper dropping $6 million a year. They're spending about $6.3 million in the general fund than in intake. Now, I did ask that question of our county finance department this week, and the hope is that those numbers are conservative and that $6 million gap, closes up.
We're hanging on a lot of hope.
Yeah, and it usually does, but that's dependent on the economy and taxes and how things go.
I always heard a budget was you take the money that you're going to receive, or you got coming in, and you set that number down here,
right,
and then you spend it on paper.
Well, we do, and then we keep spending past that number.
It looks like to me we just put our wish list on paper and hope the money shows up, because I hear that word hope used a lot.
Well, there's a lot.
That's the way it works, isn't it?
Yeah, so
it's just hope,
and we don't find out until the audit comes out, which then shows the real numbers, not the fake budget numbers, and then hopefully that number closes up. But currently on paper, if you look, and this was heavy discussion at the city level, but at the county level, if you look at the general fund balance, it goes from like 21 to 15 to 9 down for 3 years.
Everybody gets their picture made about how great they are, because we got an award.
We did get an award.
We didn't run out of money.
Well, we're not running. We have not run out of money. So, and
I'm making a joke, Josh. I'm making a joke. Sort of.
Yes, but just interesting. Not a lot of discussion of any of that. And I've been to all those meetings now, so there will be a vote on it this Thursday, and we'll see how that goes.
I want to ask you this: have you ever seen a government budget, actual expenditures, go down for a period of time, like maybe from a year ago to this next year, the spending went down? Have you ever seen that happen?
A few departments do that.
I'm talking about the overall.
But the whole one. No, I've never seen the whole one
seen
shrink.
It happen.
I've only seen it go. I only see it go up. So I've never seen it shrink. You're right.
But you know what? People's household budgets are having to go down right now because the cost of things are going up.
Oh yeah, because inflation is still.
And how does the general public manage their money without huge increases? Yet government can't.
Right. Government just raises your taxes. So.
Why can't we get on the same page and like do the same?
It's all in who you elect, I guess.
You think it might be?
Yeah. Although some of the people that run on the, especially watch at the national level, I think some of the Republican administrations spend as much or more as the Democratic administrations.
They're gone. Wow. Yeah, don't get me started on that.
So,
but anyway, it's that season of the year.
It is that time of year. So this season will be over after this week, though, because all budgets will be finished by the end of the month. So Thursday evening, the other big meeting I went to this week was the school board meeting. And this one went fairly fast, about an hour. Just two things that I want to point out. One of them, a bigger one we're going to discuss. A smaller one, though, Cascade is getting a dual enrollment culinary class. We were talking about that before we went on the air. What that is my son did several of those in high school, too, is while you're studying the class in high school, you're earning college credit.
Right.
And this was actually, during the discussion, they said this was Motlow came to us. They had the opportunity for a grant, I'm assuming from the state, to put in one of these, but they had to join with the school system, with the local school system. They chose Bedford County Schools to join with, and I think the talk was they're spending about $700,000 to $750,000 to retrofit an existing classroom inside Cascade High School, and that classroom will then be the culinary class that you'll get dual credit at while you're there.
Right.
So, and they already have a culinary class at Shelbyville Central, I think. So this will be the second one of these classes in the school system. So it's a good thing. It helped my son. It saved him half a semester of college by having college credits going in. So he took like 3 or 4 dual enrollment classes. It's a good thing for county students. So the big one, though, and this was the one that was discussed the most, was, and we've talked about this is the student laptop purchase or lease discussion. So this went on for a while. The Bedford County Schools, I gathered from the discussion here, we as a county have not spent money on laptops, technology for the schools since about 2019. The reason being, starting COVID year and then a few going forward, there were all these big grants you could get. We got, COVID grants and federal grants and this grant and that grant and the other grant.
Josh, okay, for those people out there that we hear that word all the time, what is a grant?
That's the government giving you back your own money. So
that's a simple. That's
the short explanation.
That's a short explanation. So, okay, so we're getting part of our money back.
Getting part of our money back.
That's money that's not being wasted somewhere else.
Right. And honestly, in the case of the federal government, it's probably not even our money. It's probably money that they printed that they don't have. Yeah.
Counterfeit money paying for our laptops.
But either way, we had not spent any local money on technology, and we've now fallen behind. The number was given out that we actually have 3,000 inoperable units in the school system currently. Inoperable doesn't necessarily mean that they won't turn on. That may just mean that they can't be upgraded to the latest version of Windows, which they need to do, run the current software and whatnot. So a decision had to be made, and it was made at the school board meeting. First, there was a little more discussion about these I want to talk about. These laptops, we don't have a set way of dealing with these in the school system. If you are a student at Shelbyville Central High School, you don't get a laptop. They have carts in each classroom.
Now, is this going forward, or is
this is the current?
The current
Yeah,
rules?
there's no talk of changing it right now. So if you go to Shelbyville Central, you go into a classroom, the teacher has a cart of laptops, and while you're in that class, you get to take a laptop from the cart, use it, but you have to return it to the cart. So, but if you go to Cascade High School or Community High School, you get a laptop as a student, and you're actually able to take it home.
Okay.
So we've got a different.
There's a reason for that.
There is a reason for that. The principal from Shelbyville Central was there, and he felt like his students, a lot of them or some of them, would damage the laptops.
Versus
feel like
kids in Community and
Cascade
don't.
They have better luck.
Well, that's an issue right there within itself. All right, so
it is. At Shelbyville Central, they do have the option to check a laptop out
at the library
if they don't have any computer at home.
So my question becomes then, we can't have standard rules across the system, it looks like.
We currently don't. So, yeah.
Are we going to? Was there discussion
of
that?
There was no discussion of changing them. It's principal's discretion was the way it was mentioned. So the principal has the discretion. There was also an elementary principal there, I think actually the one from Cartwright, and she said obviously at elementary age they get more damage to their computers because you get little kids with them. So and they do not, the elementary and middle schools do not send the laptops home. They use the cart system like you have at Central, which is each classroom has a cart full of laptops. One thing that the cart system, which I didn't put on the rundown here, gets you to, which the IT director mentioned, if you've got a teacher that teaches multiple different classes, obviously, one of her classes might have 25 kids, one might have 30 kids, that cart needs to have the number of laptops for the greatest number of students, which means if you do the math, that works out to they actually need more laptops than they have students in the school system, because each teacher needs to have enough for the maximum number of kids that will ever be in that classroom. So,
and they don't really have a way of knowing that because during the year we pick kids up, and you just
never know.
I
think probably best guess of how many they would have in a class.
All right, so Josh, I got a little solution, I think, to the damage situation. I think it ought to be just countywide to every school. If the kids, and back when we were in school, and I don't know about you, on our report card, there was an actual category called behavior. And we got graded on our behavior. Okay. And I think after just a few weeks of teachers observing, if this kid can't act right, and it's a risk sending that kid home with it, just revoke their rights, whether it's in community or if it's in Central High School. We don't want to single anybody out. Well, by George, we got singled out when we were kids, and it worked.
Yeah, and I mean, that all comes back to parenting, and if your parents are actually on top of you or not, or if we've got, I think, far too many parents right now that don't parent anymore. So, and that's what they came up with also, was that some of these laptops that are getting damaged, they try and they can't get the parent to pay for it.
Well, there's got to be repercussions for that.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't have penalties. You're gonna get this bad behavior from parents and students.
Yeah,
and it's unfortunate. That's where we are.
So.
I don't know how you handle this, Josh. I'm just throwing it out there.
Right.
I mean, there's some smart people that could figure out a way to isolate these situations and correct them, I think.
Yeah, for sure. So what this gets us to from a numbers standpoint is overall in the school system, they need roughly 10,000 of these laptops. So they're running already 3,000 inoperable. They're behind the curve. They're almost 2 years behind the curve. So what they approved was the purchase of 2,450 laptops at the meeting on Thursday.
Okay, so who's going to get those first?
Those will replace the ones
that are damaged,
that are inoperable. Now, I want to go back and point out, this was, and I've been to several school board meetings now, this was the first school board meeting ever that I've heard a no vote on something that comes up for no. And we got a no vote on this, and this was from Brian Cruz, and I spoke to him afterwards, and we actually talked for a little bit afterwards, and he had hoped that they actually, going into this, they had two options, which was purchase the laptops, which is little over 1 million. It actually, on their paperwork, it read 1.2 million at the point that they voted.
Right.
The alternate option was to lease the laptops. The lease payment per year runs about $242,000 a year.
Okay.
So what would have happened with the lease option is eventually they need to get to 10,000. So they would start this year at 242,000 roughly was the number. Then by year 2, you would be up to paying, double that. By year 3, triple. Then by year 4, you'd be at $1 million a year.
I'm totally confused. If we need 10,000, how many are we going to have when we get 2,450?
Well, we'll throw out the bad ones and we'll fill those in. So here's what's happening with the purchase program. So that was the lease scenario.
Right.
The purchase scenario is this year we're going to buy 2,450
right.
million. Next year we're going to buy 2,450.
But that's not 10,000.
No, it takes 4 years.
So we're going to go. Yeah. We're going to stagger them in. Okay, so who gets them and who don't?
Well, again, the oldest ones fall off each year. So, and then this is a cycle. You're on the cycle forever.
I'm lost. Okay, yeah. We need 10,000. We don't have 10,000.
No, we have 10, but we've got 3 of them.
Oh, I got you. Okay, so you're going to replace the ones that are going out.
Yeah, so you have to get on a 4-year cycle.
All right, I got you.
But the other part of the discussion was buying these when they do right now during the budget year, which is approving them July 1st. It's really hard to get 2,450 computers ready to start school in August. So they're hoping maybe this April to come up with another $1 million and buy another 2,450 in April instead of waiting until July. So there's going to be a year somewhere in here where they're going to have to come up with $2 million in a single year just to get back on this cycle.
So what's the argument between leasing versus buying? I've got a laptop right here that we operate off of.
Right.
It's about 2 years old. I've got another one that's about 6 years old. The 6-year-old one is a boat anchor at this point. It's worthless. Okay. Yeah. This one that I have right now, if I tried to sell it, I might get $100 for it.
Maybe.
The minute you take those things in, it's like driving a car off of a car lot. They're worthless. They're worthless. Okay, so is it worth leasing versus purchasing? What does that argument?
That's the math. Yeah, that's the math. With the lease, we would have been ramping up. We would have just had 200. We'll say 250,000 this year. Next year would have been $500,000. The next year 750, and then we would have got to $1 million and then stayed there over and over. The couple downsides to the lease, just like if you lease a car, when you return these 2,450 computers to Dell, if they start finding different levels of damage, you could get chargebacks. So if you had enough of them that had too much damage to them, you could get a big bill at the end of the lease. If you own them, you get to put them on gov deals at the end of the 4-year life, but you're right. They can't bring anything.
No,
I don't know.
Worthless.
Yeah, a 4-year-old computer that's been used by elementary students for the last 4 years, does it get $50 each?
You're better off letting the child buy them for $50 or something, and let them own them. They might. Some of these kids might never get a computer otherwise.
Yeah. So that was the discussion. The vote was, and it's happening. They're buying the 2,450. They're going to have to take another vote though in the spring. To do the same thing, hopefully to get on the correct cycle to where they can, because they've got to keep 10,000 working machines, and they have about a 4-year life cycle.
All right, so I'm assuming that textbooks are out the window now, and everything's going to be done with the laptops. Is that the way it is?
No, because they just spent $600,000 on new science textbooks.
So, all right, that's on one.
Yeah, that was just
on science.
Yeah, that was science. Yeah.
Okay, so we still have textbooks.
We still have textbooks, and we have the laptops. And,
all right,
and depending on what school you go to, you might take your laptop home, or you might just have it while you're in the classroom.
Okay, so what are we doing with the laptops?
Research. I don't know honestly what all they do with them, but yeah, I'm sure whatever you would do in a laptop. Hopefully, not playing video games.
So what do they do with the books?
Also have to look at the book. So they got the books, they got the laptops. It takes a lot of stuff.
Evidently,
in school now.
Okay,
so that was the
changing times.
Yeah, that's what's going on. Yeah, I know. Back when you were in school, you had to whittle your own pencil with your pocket knife.
We did, and we had a pocket knife. Okay, and we had a chisel and a hammer and carved our stone tablets. We had big fat pencils in the first through third grade.
I remember.
And we had tablets. We had actual big tablets.
Did you have tablets?
That was our tablets. It's a piece of paper stapled together.
Okay, well,
that was our tablet.
That's all right. Did you have outhouses? Did you have indoor plumbing?
We had indoor plumbing.
Okay,
but no hot water, all cold water.
Okay, all right. Just quick side note: I did go to the Ross Ice Cream Supper last weekend.
Yeah,
and they just got indoor plumbing there. I think last year. I think that when it was built had outhouses.
Man, you're living in the country, Josh.
They were out in the country.
No, the country.
Oh, okay.
It's a little different.
Yeah,
Right.
I can't do it.
All right.
So those were our two big meetings. We had the county committee meetings with the dead sheep and the goats, and then we had the school board meeting with the laptops.
And we've somehow been able to talk about this for 35 minutes, Josh.
I don't know.
It's
We
my
just keep
fault.
going. We just can't stop. But other than that, those were the big meetings this week. We thought there was going to be more budget discussion. There wasn't. We've got a crazy busy week coming up, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. But I think maybe we should hear from our sponsors one more time.
We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Get the results you want with the personalized service you deserve at Dennis Young Insurance Agency.
As a local independent agency, we offer coverage from several different companies, including Erie. So whether it's auto, home, life, personal, or business, we can find the right coverage to meet your unique insurance needs. And with a rate lock advantage, your rates won't go up as long as you do not change drivers, autos, or addresses. Contact us at Dennis Young Insurance Agency, insuring Shelbyville and surrounding areas since 1988.
Alrighty, welcome back to the weekend wrap up, Josh. We've got an upcoming week, and it looks busy.
It is a busy upcoming week. Let's start with what's going on today. We've already talked about today, but I'll mention it again anyways. We've got the Moon Pie Festival going on in Bell Buckle. We've got Juneteenth on the Shelbyville Square, where I'll be riding in the parade here in about an hour. And then we've got the barrel racing going on over at Cooper Steel Arena. So a lot going on today. As far as meetings this week, boy, are there some, and I don't even think I put them all on my list. But Tuesday at noon, the city, which I'll obviously be there because I'm voting, will be voting on the property tax rate and the city budget for the year. Same day at 4:15, the County Financial Management Committee will be having their monthly meeting. Same day, Tuesday at 7 o'clock at the Historic Courthouse, the County Planning Commission will be meeting. There's 2 items on their agenda, I think. I'll be going to that again. I've started following that. Thursday at noon, the school board will come together briefly, and I think this is some kind of a budget thing. It may just be their final end-of-the-year budget amendment. I think they've already voted on their budget. Maybe both, but it is somehow budget-related, and it will be quick. Thursday at noon. Thursday at 6 o'clock, I'll be at this one because I sit on it. The City Planning Commission. There is only one item up for vote on that. That is the waste transfer station. And we've been waiting on a traffic study for a couple months. The traffic study's back. I've reviewed it already. It's clear. My only question will be, which I didn't dig deep enough to find out yet, they were needing a cross-access agreement with a neighboring property owner.
Okay, so no new developments coming in.
Nothing to be voted on the agenda at the city on Thursday. So
okay,
nothing at all.
It's cooling off. So.
Yeah, it is currently in the cooling phase. 30 minutes later, 6:30. So hopefully the planning one goes quick. I'm going to run up the hill to the Historic Courthouse, and the County Finance Committee will have their special meeting. This is where they vote on the county property tax rate and budget. And then 30 minutes later at 7 o'clock, the entire county commission will vote on the county property tax rate and the county budget, which, barring anything crazy, is going to look like it did in the budget book that they handed us several weeks ago. So there hasn't been a whole lot of discussion on that one. The city one, obviously, we had back and forth between our 2 meetings, but we got to what I think is, unless something comes out of left field, which you can't ever tell, but unless something does, I think ours is... There's no real debate there anymore. I think it will pass probably unanimously, I would think.
So,
I don't think the being
Josh, basically, on all these events right here, barring except for the Moon Pie Festival, keep your eye on left field.
Yeah, anything can come out of left field. Even in the Moon Pie Festival, you don't ever know.
All right, so I'll keep my eye on left field.
Yeah,
Josh.
keep your eye on left field. But going to be a busy week for me. Lot Tuesday and Thursday. But we'll be back here next week to talk
at
about
our regular
all
time.
of it. I think we'll be at a regular time.
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. I don't think there's anything going on next Saturday morning.
Well, guys, share and like the video and get more people to come watch and see what really matters, the news that matters.
News
here.
that matters, same place, same time, same channel next week.
Not same time, though. 10 o'clock.
Well,
next
not
week.
time that we were at today, but 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Yes.
And again, thanks for our sponsors, Dennis Young Insurance and Leverage Power Washing. We appreciate them. Thanks for watching. We'll see